with promises of low fuel prices, improved supply, and national self-sufficiency. Many hail it as a game changer. But concerns are also rising. Could this be the beginning of a new kind of monopoly?
Aliko Dangote is at it again, making sure to wrap his arms around every aspect of Nigerian crude oil. First, he took over pricing, production, and now the supply chain is his next victim. With an influx of over 4,000 CNG trucks and other structural modifications, Dangote Refinery is taking serious steps in controlling the crude oil system in Nigeria. And there's no one willing or able to match him or even beat him at this game. Well, because some Nigerians are worried he's getting too powerful and starting a monopoly, others are thanking him for it, for making life easier, cheaper, and even profitable. So, is Dangote really the villain in this story? Or is it just that one guy who understood the Nigerian economy before the rest of us caught on? Let's get into it. Now, before we start throwing cement blocks and oil barrels, let's take a quick step back. Who exactly is Aliko Dangote? And how did he become the man whose name literally controls the price of things in your shopping cart? Well, in simple terms, Dangote is the richest man in Africa. He made his money selling everyday things: cement, sugar, salt, spaghetti, basically all the ingredients for jollof rice and a 3-bedroom bungalow. While most people were chasing tech startups and importing luxury goods, Dangote decided to build things that people can't live without. And he didn't just sell them. He took over the entire supply chain. He didn't stop at selling cement. He took over the mining sites, he built the factories, bought the trucks, even made sure he had ports locked down. It's like opening a suya spot and owning the cow ranch, and also controlling the road that leads to the market. Now, this level of control has made a lot of people nervous. Because if one man decides the price of cement, sugar, and now fuel, then isn't that just too much power in one man's hands? But before we rush to grab our pitchforks, there's another side to the story. Because as much as people prefer to fear monopoly, they also can't deny that his investments have done a lot for Nigeria. Now, that's where the story gets juicy. Let's look at the monopoly talk first. How he pushed out competition, played the long game, and maybe, just maybe, bent a few rules along the way. Let's be honest. Competition in Nigeria is already tough. NEPA will turn off the light, customs will seize your container, and if you survive all that, guess who's waiting at the finish line to finish you off? Dangote, smiling with a better price and government support. Over the years, there have been full-blown tweets and write-ups. Dangote doesn't just fight competition, he finishes them. Let's rewind to the cement wars. Once upon a time, Ibeto cement was doing really well. Imports were flowing, prices were dropping, and Nigerians were happy. Then, the government suddenly remembered some unresolved duties and shut down Ibeto's terminals.
This is Dangote Cement Obajana. We are having 2,000 people working in the plant, direct people, and it has the indirect employment of 500 to 600 people.
Meanwhile, guess who's expanded production like nothing happened? Yep, Dangote. It was almost like watching a football match where one team suddenly forgets how to play. Now fast forward to the BUA versus Dangote drama. Now this one, very spicy. BUA claimed they were being sabotaged, from cement to sugar to their own plants to refine petroleum. They accused Dangote of trying to strong-arm the government into stopping their operations, blocking access to resources, and basically being a sore winner. Dangote, of course, denied it all and said, "I'm just trying to protect my investment." But let's be honest, when BUA released that public statement, calling it economic sabotage, we all knew things had gone beyond business, that it was personal. And just when you think the market has had enough spice, enter NNPC versus Dangote. Now, Keep in mind that NNPC is backed by the federal government. But somehow, Dangote's refinery became so powerful that it's now in a staring contest with the National Oil Company over who controls Nigeria's fuel pricing. NNPC wanted to supply fuel, and Dangote basically said, "You can, but it's my ball, my field, my referee." According to reports, Dangote's team even pushed for rules that would force NNPC to go through its own refinery infrastructure or pay higher fees to compete. So yeah, it was a chess game. He's been playing 5 moves ahead since 2001. But let's not get it twisted. This kind of dominance isn't about who shouts the loudest. It's about strategy. Dangote builds the entire value chain. Factories, roads, ports, pipelines, and now a refinery. This man planted a mango tree, fenced it around, and is now bottling the juice and then charging rent for shade. Whether you love it or you hate it, the system seems to work for him. Most importantly, while he's busy cornering industries and making rivals sweat, he's also doing something that might just make him the most useful monopoly Nigeria has ever had. He's actually built stuff, like real, massive job-creating, economy-changing, shifting stuff.
If I had invested this $25 billion in the likes of Microsoft, Tesla, Google, and co., I would have been worth $125 billion. But I'm not worth $125 billion because I choose to invest at home.
Let's start with the big one, the refinery. See, for years, Nigeria, the land of crude oil, was importing petrol like we were landlocked. But now, with Dangote's 650,000 barrel a day refinery, we finally started flipping that script. We're not there yet, but this refinery is already changing the game. It means fewer fuel imports, less pressure on our forex, and a big step towards energy independence. Even an NPC with all his decades of drama hasn't pulled off something of this scale. Now, we can't ignore the ripple effects. He's built factories, roads, power plants, even ports, thousands of direct jobs, hundreds of thousands of indirect ones, and entire communities that now have something to do besides complain about NEPA. Now, according to a report by The Cable, his refinery alone has the capacity to meet Nigeria's fuel needs and even exports to other African countries. That's not a small thing. That's continental power play.
The Dangote refinery has concluded plans to begin distribution of premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol and diesel, to marketers, petrol dealers, manufacturers, telecoms firms, aviation, and other large users across the country, with free logistics to boost distribution network.
Now, with this new model the Dangote refinery has adopted to tackle supply, delays, and basically cut out middlemen, Dangote is placing his grip firmly on Nigerian crude oil, just as he did in his other investments. Now, obviously, we could say that maybe the man plays hardball, but maybe the ball he's playing, which is lifting the country too, is a good thing. Now, speaking of lifting, let's talk about how all this his heavy industrial lifting has quietly sent land values flying. Because where industries grow, real estate booms. You want to know where the smart investors are smiling right now? Look no further than Ibijuleki. Now, once upon a time, you could buy a plot there with leftover Christmas money, right? Now, that same land, you could buy a decent apartment in Ikoyi. Why is that? The Dangote refinery. Now, once construction began, land value in that entire axis shot up like fuel prices during the subsidy removal. Everybody from local farmers to silent investors suddenly became landowners with LinkedIn profiles. Then, there's Alara City, a place that used to be sand, bush, and just awful vibes, is now one of the most organized land development urban centers in Lagos. Industrial parks, tech hubs, gated communities, all sparked by the commercial pull from companies setting up nearby. Now, funny enough, Dangote does not sell land. But by building the infrastructure that powers businesses, he ends up raising land prices without shifting a single for sale sign. So for anyone thinking Dangote is Dangote, I'm just me, let me ask you this. What are you doing with the opportunities his empire is creating? Because the smartest play isn't trying to compete with him. We know that from all of his history. It's buying land next to him. You don't need to have a refinery. You just need to plant your stake near where the action is happening. Look, no one is saying monopolies are perfect. They concentrate power. They distort markets. They raise eyebrows. But you know what else they do? They create roads, jobs, ports, booming cities, and opportunity. If you're paying attention. Dangote may be controversial, but he's also building the Nigeria people used to only dream about. So, here's your move. Don't just watch Nigeria grow. Own a piece of the future. And if you're ready to take what that first step would be, reach out to us today and we'll guide you to reliable, secure, and high-return real investment opportunities in Ibeju-Lekki, Alara City, and all over the Lagos metropolis. Let's help you invest smart and early. See you in the next one.